All right, we got that footer all dug. Now I can get the backhoe out of here. I think I'm done digging on the pond now, maybe, maybe. Well, I thought I was all done with the pond for this year, but as it turns out, there's one more digging project that I need to do. I thought I could do it next spring, but the weather's perfect, so there's no time like the present. I'm gonna get busy on this now.
Dig Drive DIY.
So when I started recording this video, I thought I knew exactly what I was looking for and how I'd go about fixing it.
There's a problem lurking right underneath the grass right here, right near this flag. And well, the first thing I'm gonna need is the lawnmower, believe it or not. So let's go get a lawnmower.
Turns out I was completely wrong, and the next day and a half would be consumed with trying to figure it all out. My biggest failure came from an assumption I made concerning some buried drainage tile near the pond. You know what they say about assumptions. Now, in this video, you're going to hear me say the word tile a lot. Tile is the word we use for underground drainage pipe because long ago it was made out of clay tile, just like what you might see on a roof. So for many of us here in the Midwest at least, we still refer to drainage pipe as tile, regardless if it's made out of clay, concrete, or even plastic like most of it is today. When installed approximately 30 to 40 inches deep, the tile helps our poorly drained heavy clay-based soils get rid of unwanted surface water. When the pipes are connected to a nearby river or stream, it allows a place for the water to move and flow from the poorly drained area. Without the drainage tile, our soils and surface areas would lay wet and saturated as water just does not move quickly or easily downward through the soil profile like it would in a sandy soil. So in this Google Earth image from 2014, you can clearly see where they've installed some drainage tile running east and west just on the east side of my shop right here. And these are connected to a large drain tile that's running north and south that goes underneath the road, and you can kind of make it out in the field where it crosses underneath and empties into the ditch. So all this water moving through here gets collected by these tile. And if you start to look closely at these discolored strips where they're lighter colored, those are tile that are running east and west in the field. Watch closely in this area as I move the time ahead 1 or 2 years. See where those tile trenches were? Now they're clearly defined stripes in the field. You can see these little stripes everywhere. And if you start to look closely, you can see where these laterals are, we call them. They run east and west. So right here's a good year where you can see them right here. So I thought I could see this tile right here real nicely, and I could see it right here. I knew that this tile existed because I dug it up through the center of the pond, and you can almost see it going through the yard right there. The spacing between these tile are about 40 feet. I can go across here like this, and there's the one that I dug up through the center of the pond. If you look at this one here, this one's about 40 feet away, and it goes clear over to here. You can see where it goes right across the back of the property. And that's why I thought the tile was just about under that first row of corn.
I mowed all the corn stalks off because past digging experiences have taught me that when you dig in the corn stalks, all of that corn fodder and trash and residue on top ends up mixed up with your dirt, and it creates a problem. And I don't want a bunch of corn stalk in this dirt. So I mowed it off to get it out of the way. And so at the time of digging the pond, I didn't want to dig up in the field because I was going to make a huge mess either on that side or this side. And hindsight, I should have done it then. I should have just disturbed a couple rows of corn and got it done. But the reason I want to tackle it now is because I have reason to believe that when the pond is clear full, the top foot or so slowly leaches down. I'm concerned that this drainage tile with such close proximity to the water's edge could be making it seep out here. Matter of fact, I would be surprised if it wasn't. So I knew that that was going to be a potential issue to take care of later on. I just didn't do it yet. So the plan is to find this drainage tile. I'll dig it up all the way and expose it. And then we got to replace it because it'll still function to drain that part of the field that's behind me and the water's flowing that direction. So we're going to remove the perforated tile and replace it with solid tile. And I'll show you all that when we get to it. Explain this a little bit better. But for right now, I just got to find this tile, figure out where it's at in relation to the property line. I've got permission from the farmer to do this, by the way. Okay, so I'm deep enough now that I'm in the pretty good clay, and I'm trying to separate the clay from the topsoil. So I took the topsoil off the top and I put it to the outside of my pile, as you might have noticed. And now I'm putting this clay closer to the trench because I'm going to be backfilling with the clay and trying to compact it back in there once we're done. And then I'll put the topsoil back on top. So I'm going to be kind of strategic on how I fill this trench back in. Okay, I'm getting down to a pretty good depth now, and I'm trying to dig without disturbing the tile. I want to find it without ripping out. The flat teeth on this bucket really help to do that. So we're definitely digging up a clay tile. That could have been the one I was seeing. I'm going to do a little exploratory mission to see if I can confirm or deny what I'm looking for without digging in the wrong place.
So I thought that the yellow plastic drainage tile I was looking for was right along the edge of our property line. And that's why I wasn't too worried about digging it up, because I really wasn't going to be disturbing that much of our grass. But after trying to dig right here in this area and I could not find it, I decided to move down to the west side of the property and dig perpendicular to where I thought the tile might be located, in an effort to really get a handle on where it was.
That's a big problem. This is way worse than I thought. I should have dug this out when I was digging the pond. That's all there is to it. So I'm going to put the 2-foot bucket on because I'm much closer to the pond than I thought I was, and I don't want to dig that wide of a trench. So I'm feeling about as stupid as I can right now. But that's life. The only person I have to blame is myself. I can fix it. It's not that hard of a fix. It's going to require the same amount of time as it would have back then. So time for time, it's okay, except for the fact that I seeded it. I did lose all that time and energy and effort to seed that back there, and I'm going to be digging it right back up. So that's just stupid. Stupid, stupid.
So locating the tile over here revealed that it was much closer to the pond than what I originally thought. Now my best estimate was that I'd have to be digging a trench right through here. And that had me feeling pretty blue, I tell you.
Here goes nothing. I cut the netting so that hopefully that'll come out of there decent. But I am feeling like a real tool right now, I tell you. What a rookie mistake. I should have dug this out before I started. Here we are. Pulling up the netting. I've only got about 20 more minutes of daylight here, decent daylight. I'd just like to get down and find this tile and confirm that it is where I think it is now, because I was wrong to begin with. And then if we find it, I'll have a plan for tomorrow. All right, well, it's a new day, and with that comes a change of plans. Last night, I dug until it was dark trying to locate the tile in the yard, and I missed it. I can't be missing it by much, but instead of trying to move over and find it there, through the night, I decided I'm just gonna start at the property line, buy an extra bit of tile, start where I know the tile exists, and then follow it all the way through. That way, if it's got a little bit of a curve in it or whatever, I'm chasing the tile. So I know the tile is right here. I hit it, and I could see it right where I'm standing. The cat is looking for it too. So I'm gonna bring the backhoe back here. And that's why I've taken all the straw matting out. Bring the backhoe up here, go down to the tile, and then we're just gonna follow it all the way across, and we'll start replacing it as we follow it. Okay, Cat, are you in the backhoe or are you on a shovel? Come on. There's been a lot of development here. For the time lapse you just watched, I've spent several hours trying to figure things out. What I thought I knew is not the case. And you saw the tile that I did find right here, and I started digging it through, and I thought, oh yeah, that's it. I'm going to dig all the way past the pond, and then we're going to replace this with this solid flex tile. We'll take a look at what happened right here. This tile turns and heads straight south, so it completely doesn't go through there. And that created an issue because now I don't know what to do. So I started digging over here. What I found out was that this tile that's running through here is running this way, and then it turns and connects to a tile that's going north and south. So I could not find the tile over here where I was trying to dig. I missed it. It turned and went this way. So I consulted some other maps. Google Earth is not the only place to find historical images. We have a local county GIS system, and if you go up to 1999, you'll notice the grain bins out back here, and here's where the pond is now. But if I go to 2006, here's that tile that I dug up through the pond, and you could start to see a little bit of a dark area back here. And this is heading in this direction, and this is making me suspicious. You know, I have the hindsight of knowing what's the real situation now, but this is probably the best image right here. This is what I think is the tile line coming in from behind the grain bin. Right there. It's not anywhere close to the property line like I thought it was. So the tile's going through here. Now the plan is start and dig that direction towards the pond and see where it ends up. I'm going to dig it all out. This could be our problem for sure. In the meantime, my brother Troy showed up to help me. We're trying to get that straw matting out of there because otherwise it'll just ball up in the topsoil and you'll never use it again. You'll never use the topsoil again. We're trying to get that out of there first, but now I'm going to start digging. Alright, so unfortunately the tile goes right underneath the edge of the sidewalk. I can't stress enough how stupid I feel that I didn't dig it out when I dug the pond, but I gotta get over it. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start digging here because I don't want to disturb the sidewalk. I'm gonna leave this section of tile in the ground, and since I know there's an outlet going that direction and there's an outlet going that direction, I'm just going to leave that, dig it back, and remove it on both sides. Hopefully that'll do the trick. This is where this tile starts. There's a cap right there, and it's full of water, which means it was bringing water up to this far. Yeah, we're going to tear this out, cap it off, put a piece of concrete, leave the piece in there between It's really close to the pond like I thought. I'm feeling a lot better. All right, now we're just gonna run out of daylight. Pull that out of there. I'm gonna cut this off right here.
Look at it, he's beautiful.
That's a big booger, isn't it? There's a rock.
That one?
Yeah, I knew it was somewhere.
I thought you were needle and haystacking me for a second, then I saw that gray spot.
This is bentonite clay. I don't know if this will do a bit of good, but it makes me feel better doing it because that's what we used to do. Basically, when you dig down to that layer and you peel up that tile, you've got a void there where water could still try to follow if it given the chance. When you put the clay down, that stuff puffs up and it kind of seals it up. So we're going to put a layer of bentonite down, put our clay in on top and start to compact it, and hopefully that'll create a barrier to try to prevent future seepage. Like I said, it could be a total waste. Next thing is I'm going to use the mini excavator to help us backfill. Come in here and just select clay, get it layered in there, and then start to pack it in. Again, I think that's a little bit overkill, but I'm doing what I think should be done. So the tile, when it's in the ground and has a place to take water away, it creates capillary action in the soil. Just like when an earthworm goes down in, they bring oxygen in behind it and they create a passageway for air and water to go down through. So if you shut off both ends of that tile and it has nowhere to go, the soil structure will start to collapse on itself. And that capillary action that flows, used to flow, little veins here and there, once it has nowhere to go, it'll all fill up and saturate and start to collapse. Okay, here's the instant replay for everyone that's trying to play along at home. The first thing I did was I tried to find the tile approximately in here, and I completely struck out, never found a thing. So then I went over here, dug along this side of the property, discovered the tile running this direction, and assumed it was going to run all the way through. I did not find it over here again, so I dug it up and realized it turned and went south. So just to make sure I wasn't missing anything in here in the middle, I dug this trench. We didn't really show it in the video, but I dug this trench looking for more tile, and I discovered this one in here, and I thought that was too far from the pond to really cause an issue. So I went back to my imagery and realized there was a tile I thought running along here. So I dug this trench so that I could discover this tile as you see it. And fortunately, this tile starts down here on the left side and runs in this direction. So it flows this way. We discovered that it started right here. So the problem I had was that this tile here does not line up with this tile here. So what I was talking about with my dad is he's worried about the piece of tile that's still left in the ground because I left this chunk of tile intact because it was going to be too close to the sidewalk and I didn't want to disturb all this grass and try to fix it. So I left this alone, and I think that once I've got this disconnected, removed, and now that this big chunk of tile is completely removed, this will have nowhere to go. It'll eventually just saturate, and I'm got my fingers crossed that that'll take care of the problem. So yeah, the water will still find that chunk of tile that's still in there underneath the sidewalk, but without anywhere for the water to go, it can't create a suction and capillary action. And we ripped out all the existing tile. We cut it off close to the pond and then dug a little hole, filled it in with some sackcrete, packed a rock and some mud in the tile, and then did the same thing. Rinse and repeat. We put clay in the bottom of the trench and bentonite, kind of mixed it together, packed it down tight, and I'm thinking that's gonna hold. We could see that there was a lot of water exiting that tile from the pond. And so that was definitely gonna be one of our problems, which that finally brings us to here. It got dark on us quick, but I did get everything backfilled. All the trenches are full, so over the winter, they'll settle out. I'll be able to get things healed up again, but it's still painful. I still feel a little foolish for not having dug that out earlier, but as they say, it is what it is. You know what might make me feel a little bit better? You put in the comments down below if you've ever had a screw up like this. Tell me this story is something that you're not too proud of, but it probably came out all right in the end. But I'm whooped, so it's time to head on inside. I want to thank you so much for clicking on this video. I hope that you liked it. If I'm lucky, I am all done digging on the pond and we won't have any more leaks. And also, you'll be back for the next one. Thanks so much. I think the name of this video should be I made a rookie mistake on the pond build. Because I should have done that while we were digging it. That was stupid of me. And now I'm embarrassed. I should have never done that. Matter of fact, edit that all out. Let's not even publish this video.